Hey guys, so I finished the Florence Pugh typing recently, and I found out that one of the videos, one of the interviews I used was blocked. I couldn't use it. I looked at three interviews in total, so I had to take that one out. Unfortunately, that was like the most meaty section of the typing. So if it feels like there's something missing, it's because there is. I'm still confident in the result, so I'm going to keep it with just the two interviews up. And this might be an opportunity if you're interested to look further, to go find your own interview and take a look. And I think you'll see the traits, the functions, the communication um, of what I type her as. Guys, welcome in. John here with Redemption Psych. And we're going to do typing today. We're going to look at actress Florence Pugh. She's someone I've been wanting to look at for a while. I've always found her interesting. All of her performances are interesting. She's also someone that chooses unique projects, not just, you know, easy money projects, but actually some unique, interesting films and shows. So just off the bat, some of the things about her that I notice is she's always seemed like an independent person, a little distant, a little cold, maybe a little more intellectual. And I don't mean distant or cold in a bad way, just as a trait thing, which kind of aligns with being an independent person. So, you could be looking at some kind of NT type. You could be looking at a lot of different things actually. So we'll take a look at her and uh, not that one. One moment. Let's try this one first. Okay, we'll look at this interview, see what we can find.
Hey guys, it's Josh here. Thanks as congratulations on the film. A Good Person is fantastic. The I tried to get some intel prior to our
Rather her be in person for this, but you can watch a few minutes of this.
chat today. David Harbour, I asked for any kind of dirt, and sadly, all he would say is she's one of the greats, which does
Oh,
nothing for me.
Okay, so just off the bat, I like to look at body language too, and this is what we do in our typing workshops, just building your perception awareness, building trust with your own perception, just looking at what you notice. And you see someone who's sitting in a very structured way, has a seems comfortable and somewhat in command of her space, posture, straight, somewhat commanding, kind of this stillness. So immediately I'm thinking, maybe this is an in charge type. Maybe this is a ENTJ, ESTJ, ENFJ, or ESTP just off the bat. But we can put the labels aside for a moment and just look at the posture. We see someone who's put together, strong in her environment and even in her sitting position, good posture, kind of a strong presence just off the bat.
which is so annoying, right? When you're like, yeah, but what's wrong?
Well, I will say about 30 seconds later, he wrote a second text that said
Yeah.
annoying in one so young. So he's at least pissed about it.
I sometimes put my finger up his nose as well, so that's also probably quite annoying. That's like
Oh,
a downside to me.
is that how you demonstrate your love to fellow actors and people
Oh
in your
yeah.
orbit?
No, actually, just specifically David. I don't know how that began or how it started, but when we were shooting Black Widow, I think someone was trying to take a picture once. Oh, we were on the way to Comic-Con and someone was taking a selfie, and I just like naturally put my thumb up his nose, and I think it made him so happy that that was my
Oh,
instant reaction that then it just became a thing.
well, he's tall, so it's an
Yeah,
easy entry point.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so
Pretty direct so far.
here's my first I was going to say serious question. It's not a serious question. The Vanity Fair talent that you demonstrated, contortionists.
Oh yeah.
How many backups were there? Like how long was the list of potential party tricks that you went through?
You know what? I had already just done cocktail making and food making on the Vogue video. And when they asked me, what's your party trick? What can you do? I was like, I don't want to I don't want to copy or do like another cocktail. So what is it that I'm actually gonna like? What is it that at parties, if I've had a few cocktails, I'd be willing to whip out? And it was that. That was only it. But the list that I did hand in was the list of costume items that I needed for it, which of course they were slightly confused by because I said Jane Fonda-esque, I need leotards.
Okay, I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit. I want to see her when she's a little more comfortable and in the flow.
Hood version of Florence for Hood version of Florence for me. Were you? I'm guessing you might have been an extrovert. I don't want to like make an assumption, but how would friends, family describe young Florence?
Always an extrovert, always wearing mad clothes or just a tutu. A bit of a tomboy as well, actually. I was always trying to hang off my brother and his friends, and they found that deeply annoying, but I thought I was super cool with them. Yeah, I think my whole childhood was encouraged by my parents to kind of be as messy and as loud and as full and as full of character and personality as possible. And I think for me and all of my siblings, like my dad very much believed in you're only a child once, and if we have to go and do something fun with our day, then let's go and do something fun with our day, which obviously my mum despised because she was very much like, no, you need to go to school and get your good grades.
Well, this is important. You need the dynamic.
Okay, so this is it's either high TE or FE, which is not particularly helpful going right to the type. But this is she's I think it's FE. I think she's describing the values and the orientation of what was important to each of her parents. You could make an argument that it's more TE of like these are the standards and the expectations, which are, difficult to distinguish at times between TE and FE. But to me, this seems like an extroverted feeling orientation about this is what my dad cared about, and this is what he did with some extrovert sensing, as a result of what he valued. And this is what my mom cared about, and this is how she acted towards us. So we see some extroverted sensing so far, and I believe that is an extroverted feeling awareness of comparing the different values and orientations that, in this case, each parent has, and how that affected how they act. Also, on a side note, being someone who's likely a tomboy growing up, you're likely looking at uh, a more masculine type, which is like a direct type, pretty much. And these in charge types, the four of them, who are both extroverted and direct, are pretty much the most uh, obviously more masculine, typically.
Need one of each, because if you have two of one or two of the other,
Exactly.
then things go bad.
Exactly. No, my dad didn't. I mean, my dad went to school, but I don't think it was like his favorite place.
Right.
And I think he also probably saw that we all struggled in the same areas that he struggled with. And so yeah, I think they just taught us to just be as big and as characterful as possible and as polite as possible. We were encouraged to talk to adults. We were encouraged to have conversations. We were encouraged to look at people in the eyes. And
It's more extrovert sensing of what their parents encouraged them to do and what those little behaviors were. And using that we language is usually a tell that you're talking in a way that captures your other siblings and the environment as a whole, not just your own personal experience.
I think that obviously just bled out as, four really loud, annoying kids.
But now you can say, see, there was method to the madness. It all worked
Yeah,
out.
exactly. Oh, there was so much madness, but full of love and food and culture, and I think just experience things.
Yeah. Show me around the bedroom, the childhood bedroom. What are the posters on the wall? What's where?
I actually would collect tickets. I'd collect train tickets and I'd collect all of my plane tickets. And then I went through a phase where I'd collect leaflets and I'd just put them up on the wall, just random leaflets. I have a poster that my best friend Theo gave me of just our faces, and it's huge. And it's just of our like 16-year-old faces. That's on the back of the bathroom door.
More extrovert sensing as she's describing the external. Okay. She has an opportunity here to provide SI. Okay. And she is a little bit like she's going into her past. It's a little, an SI context, but she's not going into detail about what she liked about the leaflets or the posters or how it affected her. It's she's externalizing it into the room, describing this poster, what it looked like, describing the space. It's more extroverted sensing. Again, when they have a strong opportunity to use a function, but use the other function, she has a strong opportunity to use SI, she uses SE. That is evidence that they prefer SE in their stack.
Yeah, but my room was just covered in like knickknacks. I clearly was a bit of a hoarder, but pictures and tickets and knickknacks.
I've heard DiCaprio's name mentioned and Titanic mentioned. For anybody of a certain age, that makes sense. I mean, I saw Titanic like 10 times in the theater. I get it. That's it. So you must have crossed paths with Leo by now.
I
Yes?
have actually, yeah. I have crossed paths with him. I didn't do the I didn't
You
do
didn't do
that.
the whole, no, that's not a good icebreaker, you think?
I think maybe I'll save that for another time. But no, I actually met him at the Don't Look Up premiere last year. And yeah, he just wanted to talk about Midsummer and Ari, and he was very complimentary, and it was really weird to be at his premiere and he wanted to talk about Midsummer. It was like amazing. But yeah, he's clearly was the love of everyone's lives for a
Get it.
very, very long time. But I
And
don't have
still
a
is,
poster.
arguably. Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
I don't have a poster on my wall of them, sadly.
Well, now I know what to get you for your next birthday.
Yeah.
You bring up Midsummer, which I'm obsessed with too. I like a good fucked up movie, and that is
Yeah.
a chef's kiss of a fucked up movie that
It
Ari
is.
Aster created.
It is.
I mean, look, you made it thinking and hoping it would be great. Like it looked great on paper, I'm sure, and you respected Ari based on Hereditary. But like, you must be kind of surprised in the best possible way of like the staying power of this weird, relatively small fucked up movie.
Well, it's become a cult movie. It's like
Yeah.
culty. It actually is culty. And yeah, I didn't think that it was going to become well, and also it's different because Hereditary was like instantly successful the moment
Yeah.
it came.
It was an
Whereas
easy one, not an easy one to pick, but it was a thriller. It was a horror
Yeah.
thriller that you knew what it
Yeah.
was. Yeah.
Yes. Whereas with Midsummer, I think if people were going to expect Hereditary again, then they were instantly disappointed.
Right.
But then there was this like deep bubbling growth of people that were getting more and more obsessed with it and watched the director's cut and would watch it again and again.
Yeah.
And it's funny how many people tell me that that's their favorite movie and they watch it all the time. Like one of the bonding moments that I had with Ariana Grande was because she said she watched it all the time. And
Yeah.
she reached out to me and told me that was her favorite movie. And I was like, oh my God. And then her birthday was designed off it. Yeah. So it clearly, I think also the beauty of it is just so wonderful to watch. Even
Yeah.
if
The
you're
juxtaposition of
coming-
beauty and horror. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, totally. But no, it was a hard shoot. It was very, very hard because it was very, very hot. And we were in Budapest midsummer. And God, I'm so midsummer, and we shot for like 4 months, I think, and we were shooting in with 3 different languages. So just all the problems and difficulties that also faces, and a lot of people in a hot field needing to be cooled down and find shade that there isn't. Just a mad shoot, and the things that we're shooting, they weren't short little scenes. They took a long time
Right.
to rehearse, they took a long time to shoot.
Right.
And the reason why Ari's movies are so aesthetically pleasing is because he's a perfectionist and he will not stop until he sees it. And so what that means is then you are doing those scenes until they are perfect, which is deeply satisfying when you've got it, and even more satisfying when you watch it. But it's a long process of like, you know, you're in it, and you don't finish until it's done.
Um, there's a lot there. Point out that it's more extroverted sensing. It's okay. She's consistently describing the behavior and the situation in terms of the circumstance and what other people are doing. She does have some SI statements here about the satisfaction, kind of referring to her own experience. I was, it's satisfying watching it. Knowing you got it, it's more satisfying when you see it. Okay, that's like an SI statement, but pretty much the rest of it is just SE. Um, so see some FE too, of like people liking this, people liking that, a moment of bonding with Ariana Grande. I wouldn't expect like a TE user to really say that. So, but the main things that pop out are direct. She's very direct. This is a good example of a direct type. Uh, mm, Sharing just enough detail to kind of give an experience as she's describing it, and then just kind of cutting off and giving it back to the interviewer, and then lots of extrovert sensing. I wouldn't. I have a feeling that she might be a ENFJ, but we don't see a lot of abstraction so far. Mostly her focus is concrete. There's some things you could argue abstraction. I don't think they're strong enough to really argue it. But we'll look at some more things here. And right now, I really want to see if we can find more stuff for the concrete abstraction. Make sure that she's direct. She seems, you know, she seems like a in charge type, which would be a outcome type, direct type, and extroverted. So let's look at this one.
Honestly, don't give it. And he gets a tissue and goes, ooh, 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 ooh. I would hope that they would potentially say that, but I don't want to sound like I'm blowing smoke up my own ass. Hello, I'm Florence Pugh, and I'm here with Harper's Bazaar UK, and I'm sharing some life lessons. Ooh. When do I feel most beautiful? Honestly, and I know it's just also classic because I'm in it, but when I'm wearing happy colors, anything colorful, I feel most beautiful. I feel like it taps into how I felt like as a child when I'd put on my dresses, or my fairy dresses, or my princess dresses, or whatever it was. What have I learned about beauty? Oh my God, so many things. I learn something from every single time I sit down in the chair with my makeup artist, Babsky. Are there specific things that I remember? No, I just like watching him do what he does. There are some tips though. Always do a lip liner all the way over your lips before you do your lipstick because it stays on for a much longer time. What he does is he does pencil, then he gets a tissue and goes, ooh, 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 ooh. So that comes off, and then he does it again, and then ooh, 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 ooh. And then you put the lipstick on again. Very clever man. He's on his phone, he has no idea. Gosh, what have I learned about style over the years? That your opinion.
I don't love this interview for typing, but we'll see some more SE there. This woman's almost certainly in an but I'm not going to use that interview. That's not a great interview for typing. But she's describing the makeup stuff more and kind of what her aesthetic person or makeup person is doing, more SE.
I read a quote from you one time that said, you really won't take on a role. That was from a while ago, so I don't know. But you won't take on a role unless it makes you nervous.
Yeah, unless it scares me.
What scared you about this one?
Not that I won't take on a role, but the majority of my roles that I've taken on, I've been terrified by.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah.
The Midsummer one, I understand. That's sort of terrifying.
Not that the content is scary, but as a performer,
to do it is scary.
Yeah.
All right, so
not that the movie is scary or the script is scary, but what I have to do is like, Ooh,
Yeah.
never done that before.
I won't take on a role unless it meets this criteria, which is, you could argue that's some TE. I would say that's at least some FI, but that is an uh, hmm. I think that is an outcome abstract orientation of like looking ahead and like what kind of situations do I want to put myself in, and finding whatever standard or criteria that you want that is that strongly tilts towards outcome to me.
I don't know if I can. I'm someone that I just I mean it's a bad trait.
What?
But I love it's very scary because one day it might I mean I like the idea of pushing myself to a space that I have no idea if I can do it, and then I do it on a set with a camera that needs me to do it. So and I think with this movie the thing that did it terrify me? No, the whole script didn't terrify me, but obviously one scene, the birthing scene, was like, how am I gonna do that? I've never given birth. I don't know even what it's like to be pregnant. I don't have any idea of what any of these sounds will sound like or how it will feel. And I have grown up.
It's interesting. It's a SI statement. I think this is a SI extroverted intuition interplay right here. I've experienced this too, even though I'm an SE user and I user. But if you haven't experienced something, if you don't have any reference for it, you like try and you have to imagine the moments of what that experience would be like for you. And if you don't have the reference points, uh, you need to go find some more. So this seems like any critic SI trickster, particularly in the context of other things that she said. Um, but it's abstraction also, looking ahead, being able to disseminate these different pieces of what she doesn't have, which I would also argue is more outcome. But at the very least, it's more abstraction.
With my mum had loads of kids, and um, she's spoken about her birthing stories throughout our entire childhood. I'm sure every mother has.
Yeah.
But I know loads of women that have had completely different births, and how the whole experiences are huge, and the main event, and magical and painful and beautiful and calm and insane. And I just really was like, I'm gonna have to get this right, or else a lot of mothers are gonna be like, you failed there.
FE, FE and SE, but it's like if I don't if I don't do this correctly, I think she's accessing TI here. Here is how I'm going to be judged in the FE way, but also the delivery of the experience has to be correct, valid. Some more FE SE interplay. I think we're looking at an ENFJ here. I am grateful that she is accessing more of her abstraction because I've had some other women who are their hero even though they're abstract, their hero function is not intuition function. That's their second function, and they often don't access their intuition in interviews. I think because they think it looks like unfeminine or something. But she seems comfortable using her intuition. We have a good amount of evidence for her being abstract and thus an intuitive type. Um, any other interviews? Could look at more, but I think we've seen enough to um, feel confident that she's structure type, that she's abstract, that she's a FE user, which if she's those things, she has to be ENFJ if she's all those things. But again, kind of back to our initial impressions about being someone who just commands her space, calm, but somewhat assertive, direct to the point. Recognizing that behavior in many other in-charge types, that can be a good piece of input for you. You can't put everything on top of that because your initial perception, of course, can be there can be other factors that go into that perception. But the abstraction, we saw a strong amount of that. We saw a ton of extroverted sensing in the way that you would expect from an SE hero or an SE child. And of course, SE heroes are not abstract, the ESPs are not abstract. So that leaves us with the ENJs being direct to the point, being more outcome oriented. Those are the ENJs. And I thought she was probably an ENJ. I wasn't sure which one. We would have seen some other things if she was like a starter type, but more measured, more to the point. A lot more FE in our interview. We saw some in the first interview, a lot more in that second interview. FE, SE. This woman is like very, very little SI and so much SE. So direct to the point, abstract, in charge, FE, SE, NI user too. So yes, I think Miss Florence Pugh is an ENFJ. Now, one interesting point here is that she reminds me of in certain moments strongly of certain ENTJ women that I know who are developed into their SE and FI functions. I think she's developed downwards though, but accessing more of that FI from FI Nemesis and then some of the any critic here. Even though she uses SE a lot, someone can be developed downwards and still use their child a lot. But I think she's developed more into her, I'm going to evaluate this for myself function, which is the FI function, instead of just relying on how other people feel about it or how they evaluate it. Also, that little tidbit about being more of a tomboy, that is a strong correlation with those direct types. So yes, Florence Pugh, an ENFJ, I believe, that developed downwards into her FI and NE stack. Subtype, I would wager, I think she's a dominant subtype also, and a creative secondary subtype. So DC on the subtype, from what I can tell. So yeah, we'll wrap up there. Thank you guys for stopping by. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.